Joining me on Startup Report are the founders of TWOS, Parker Klein and Joel Steilberg. Welcome, gentlemen.
How you doing, Joe?
Living the dream. So TWOS, cool new concept, cool new app. Give us the 101 on it.
Yeah, so TWOS is the first app and website designed to help you simply remember things. Rather than having to create a new note for every piece of information that you want to write down, TWOS combines a simple system of days, lists, and things that allow you to pretty much keep all of your information organized in one place, from to-dos, reminders, thoughts, anything you want to remember.
Interesting. All right. So I guess the first order of business in making that happen is getting the information into the app. How does that happen?
So that happens with our mobile app or our website. Every day you get a new day, fresh day to write things down. So you can type things directly into the application. And then we have a voice to things, so you can speak things into TWOS.
Voice the thing.
I
like it.
We're leaning pretty heavily into things as compared to notes because we feel like notes are the antiquated system that we're trying to disrupt. You know, when you have to create a new note for every piece of information you want to write down, whether it be an event or a thought, your information gets disorganized because you just end up piling notes on top of notes instead of things that happen on a day.
Okay, so let's walk through a use case. So can you kind of lay out how you might use TWOS throughout the day?
Absolutely. Yeah. Parker, do you want to tell them how you use TWOS today?
For sure. I mean, I've written down the things that I need to do today.
Yeah.
We like to say things. So I wrote, a UI change that I'm going through. I had a few meetings, so you can connect your Google Calendar and see your meetings on there. And then you can just jot down random notes or things. So I have a few links, a YouTube video that I wanted to watch, and it keeps everything organized in a chronological order with a day. So it's really quick and easy to write anything down.
And since things are not, fixed to the day or list they're on, you can move them, reorder them, share them individually. So that's how you can have these things coexist. So if I were to write down a meeting, but then a thought immediately thereafter, I can select the thought and move it to my thoughts list. For example, like whenever I run across a new Netflix recommendation, quickly write it down on my day, and then I move it to my Netflix recommendations list.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're saying there, I see historically that would be stuck on a note buried somewhere, and you'd have to do all this mental indexing to remember the Netflix recommendation was way back here last Tuesday. Now you can just shoot over to Netflix or, to do any way you want to categorize things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm hoping, because there's few pleasures greater than checking the box on the checklist, you get to do that as well.
So we not only have swipe to complete, which is one of our users' favorite features, but also you can transition your things into to-dos, which will create that checkbox and allow you to check them.
All right. And if it's not there yet, I'm going to feature request is some sort of like sound effect that happens when you swipe it off.
Currently, we have haptic feedback. Yeah. So when you cross it off, you get a little feel for it.
We Are the Champions plays or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, I love the sound effect, making it fun.
It's funny because of all the things that we've put into TWOS thus far, one of the things we get feedback on most often is the confetti that happens after you finish the onboarding.
Yeah.
People always reach out and say, I love the confetti. And so we're like, okay, how do we put in more confetti?
Yeah. Everybody's looking for a little validation and achievement.
Exactly.
So TWOS, I'm sure there's an interesting story behind the name. How did that come to be?
Yeah, so we've had many meanings to it. Originally started as an inside joke to celebrate things. So when something good would happen, we'd yell, TWOS, and put a peace sign up. It was really just a joke. But as the platform evolved, there was two sides to it. So there was a private side. Everything you would write down is private. And then you could share individual things on the social side of it, rather than having a traditional social media where everything's for other people and you're kind of trying to impress. You write things privately, and then you can choose what you want to share to have that deeper connection over just social information. And now, we're TWOS guys. So
we say every day is Tuesday. We have used TWOS, how you TWOSing. It's quick, it's catchy. So sometimes we even say what does Uber or Google mean? We just kind of take the same approach with TWOS. We actually removed the social side in V1. With the intent of making that input that you brought up in the beginning as seamless as possible, because nobody's going to use the platform if they can't navigate it easily.
Right.
So we don't want to overwhelm them with too much optionality when we're in control of that originally.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the origin of the company. How did you two meet, and how did the company grow from that meeting, or how did you connect at the beginning?
Yeah. Parker and I met at a startup in Austin, Texas called Trustwork. And I was on the business development side, taking my first job out of college. He was the 4th hired software developer. And I guess I can let you tell your own story from there.
Yeah, I started building it while I was a student at Vanderbilt, studying computer science and wanting to build something. Really came across it having used like Google Docs, Evernote, and it nothing being as quick and organized as I wanted. So I was like, why don't we just allow people to write things down on days? Days are something that people are used to or like get to experience every day. It's a good way to organize. And I had been building it. I was working at Google when I started talking to Joe about it. And he brought an idea to me for a better way for people to share information, basically. And I was like, well, let me show you TWOS, because it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
He caught on to it pretty quickly, and we just started going from there. I would say he brings more of the intuitive design aspect to it. So I'm good at building things, but I don't necessarily know what the consumer wants. He has great inputs and insights on those. So that's where like the pair really...
What he's trying to say is I'm the TWOS for dummies guy. Like I just pretty much, say, well, this is what I would want. So,
That's the classic divide in a corporation. The tech guys always think the business guys are the dummies. And
And we make a joke because I called Parker, back when he was at Google and I had moved on to my next career as well. I called him with a software developer's favorite words. I have an idea that I need your help with.
Yeah.
So,
and not only need his help with, but need him to leave, kind of an okay job at Google, right? How did that go over with the friends and family?
It was tough. I mean, it was a long conversation, but it was one I just felt like was the right move. And part of it was also being Google and having their hands in so many different places. I was under like contract not to promote TWOS because it was conflicting with Google Keep. So they basically said you were not allowed to share that you're building this or like spread the word. So that was a little bit more, okay, let me step away so we can start sharing this with more people. And that was, a big driver for it.
And so as you've gone through this journey together, what's been as you expected? What's been different than you expected? How has grinding up a company been?
I mean, it's been an absolute roller coaster because I think that any entrepreneur can emphasize that there's good days and there's bad days. And so it's hard to like not get caught up on either side. It's hard to not get overly excited when good news happens. It's hard to get not, pessimistic when things are not going how you expect them to. I think that from our angle, we at least had this expectation in some capacity that the concept would take off as soon as we released it to market.
Yeah.
We didn't realize how much, user acquisition is actually like a trial and a tribulation. But now we're here, having increased our daily active users about 200% every month for the past 2 or 3 months. And we're like, this is easy. So like, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, and customer acquisition is the wall that all startups hit eventually. Even the best ideas, unless you get very lucky, or have some sort of happenstance viral event, that's the wall. And it doesn't speak to the idea. It just speaks to the nature of a lot of information being out in the world and people having to wade their way through it. So,
a lot of things.
Yeah. So as you've got these new, you've acquired these users. How's that happened? Has it been word of mouth? Has it been through advertising or marketing or influencers, or what's been your path?
We're really proud to say that we've spent under $300 or $400 on advertising and marketing, not because of a lack of funds, but because we feel like we owe it to the platform and to the users to take the organic approach. We make YouTube videos with the TWOS guys. We write blogs on Medium. We make Instagram posts, and word of mouth is certainly something that's starting to pick up. Mm-hmm. People are starting to write blogs about us. People are starting to make videos of their reviews of it. It would seem that the productivity knowledge management community is a very powerful one. So it's really been amazing, like seeing them pick it up and emphasize the validation of things like, I've been looking for a platform like this for 10 years, and this thing is saving my life. We got a comment this morning on a YouTube that said, how have I not been aware of this? It's changing my world. That's
great. And revenue, it's what's the revenue? How's that structured?
I was gonna say I'm about to take my wallet.
No, I mean you go ahead and start it. No, yeah, of course.
So currently, And it wasn't even to make money necessarily. We run on a platform or on a marketplace of $2 upgrades. So everything to use the app is free initially. And then we basically strip back some of the more pro features to not overwhelm the initial user. And we hope that buying it for $2 or 200 coins, because we have an incentive-based onboarding, will get them to understand the harder features and want to invest in them. So that's currently how we're making money. It's not a lot, but it's pretty impressive for us.
Which we've been getting some feedback recently that, something that we put in really second-handedly is now generating us revenue. And it's not our end-all be-all by any means. We actually have this vision for a platform of shared information unlike anything that's ever existed before. So instead of going on Facebook and asking your friends and your family for Netflix recommendations, instead people will aggregate this information over, not just 10 seconds that it takes you to write a tweet or a comment, but there'll actually be like shared recommendations, and then you can monetize that information. Because the first line in our privacy policy is, you own your data. We will never do anything with it without your permission. And we believe that wholeheartedly. We know that the tide is turning on social media and people extracting or harboring data without users' permission. The classic saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Right.
We believe that we want our users to own their data and be able to monetize it however they see best fit. And we're going to create a marketplace platform for them where, for example, if you, Joe, had a top 10 restaurants in St. Pete and you wanted to charge 99 cents for that list, I will absolutely pay 99 cents for Joe Hamilton's top 10 restaurants.
I'm not going to ask why that's the one you chose.
Probably related to your domain expertise.
Yes,
but
domain, yeah. That's great. And I see a lot of even intra-family things, where families and groups, peer groups can share lists and things as well. So at full flight, what's the maximum, number of $2 add-ons that a single user can kind of do in a month? Where do they top out at right now?
Right now it's 7.
7, we actually recently put one back into the free side, which is called Remember View. The reason we did that is because it's not one of those things that is not easily understood. It's more like one of those nice to haves, but it's really cool. Since the structure of twos is on days, just like Snapchat memories, you have things that you wrote 7 days ago, 30 days ago, and a year ago. Right. So you can go into your Remember View and you can see all the things you wrote down a year ago.
Got it. Cool. And then, how much pressure do you feel from the behemoths, the Evernotes of the world, to make changes based on what they're seeing you're doing? Do you feel like you're pushing the platform into a place that they won't go as a competitive advantage, or are you trying to be first to the way of doing things? How are you handling them?
I mean, I would say we are going into a blue ocean. We like to talk about the blue and red oceans, and we think, they're task apps, they're a reminder app, they're a notes app, documents app,
enterprise apps.
But we like to consider ourselves the first ever write things down app. When you just need to quickly write something down, don't reach for a Post-it note, don't reach for your notebook, reach for twos, because you'll always have it accessible. You won't run out of pages in the notebook. You won't forget it at home. You'll always have your phone on you or be on your computer. Your things sync. So writing things down rather than like the traditional notes or whatever is our main value add. And then we do have some longer term vision that nobody's doing that we believe will make twos, on the scale of a Google or Facebook.
Which really is not a secret. In a way, it is that marketplace. It is this, structure of shared information where Oprah now puts her top 10 books of 2022 on twos, and she owns that data, and we take obviously a finder's fee or a commission based on the exchange of that information. But, people have I've seen tweets that say from people, if now we are aware that Twitter and Facebook are stealing our data, why isn't there a platform where you own your data? There is. It's called twos. So.
Pay for the list or even affiliate out the links in the list as well. Yeah, cool. Well, as this is a startup report, let's talk a little bit about the fundraising journey and that aspect of it. How did you how many rounds have you gone through, and are you still in the process of actively raising, and how's that journey been?
So TWOS is actually completely bootstrapped. Nice. We've been bootstrapping since about this time last year. Parker left his job with Google in March, and I left my job in private equity in May. We both had, nests, if you will, in order to be able to accomplish what we have up until this point. And that was really needed for the platform in a big way. We needed validation. It's a new concept. We didn't have like a roadmap, I guess, if you will, as it relates to fundraising. And we actually are learning that more and more companies are raising off of a pitch deck alone. We think that we're actually very unique in the fact that we have a product on the market that people are validating every single day. So we are actually planning on starting our first round of funding within the next 7 days. And that really is going to be based on the current validation and traction that we're seeing. And it's going to be, very impactful for the growth and the improvement of the features and what we're able to, who we're able to reach.
Yeah. And that's a great benefit to you as founders, because you can come in at a valuation, give away less equity at a higher valuation than you would have had to do had you started, back in the idea stage. So exactly. You've earned the right to keep more of your company and to get more for your equity. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And why Tampa? Why Tampa Bay?
Somewhat coincidental. We both kind of came to Tampa Bay with our old jobs. So Parker was working remote with Google, and so he brought his 60 or 70 inch iMac over, that he had to unfortunately send back when he decided to turn in his papers. I came down here for a job in private equity, but we actually just re-upped on our lease while being on TWOS full time because we absolutely love it here. Yeah. I mean, there's no better place. And meeting people like you, we're also just noticing this like entrepreneur and tech community starting to flourish in the Bay. And it's nothing short of incredible.
And joining Embark and Wave, just a great tech environment to be a part of, ecosystem.
Yeah. 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 It's come a long way, and it's accelerating in its betterness. So how can people interact with TWOS?
So, I would say first and foremost is downloading the app. So download the app for free on the App Store or the Google Play Store. You can also use it on your desktop at TWOSapp.com. We rely so heavily on our customer feedback and just kind of understanding what we need to do in order to build the best place to write things down for people. And, we really do use that term slangily and, cheekily, but in reality, anything you want to write down, we want TWOS to be that place for you. It's the reason that people are, moving off of Notion and Evernote in droves, why people are still using Post-its in the back of envelopes for things. We genuinely believe that we can create an all-in-one place for people to write things down. So that customer feedback, joining our Discord, letting us know what they need in order to have a more seamless experience, because we thrive off of that information.
That's great. I don't download a ton of apps, but I have not used Evernote, and I have not because of kind of the reasons it just seems to get lost and never go back to it. So I look forward to using TWOS, and I think my first to-do item is going to be to look up cheekily to just verify that it's a real word, and then I'm going to bring it into my lexicon. Cool. Yeah. Well, it's great to see you guys here. You're bringing a ton of energy. Previous careers were noteworthy, that you exited those, and to do this, it's great having people who, have high quality opportunities here who choose to, to come start companies in Tampa Bay, and you're picking the right outfits to work with, and it's really, really great to see we're still early, so you guys are some of the archetypes of what we want to see going forward for cool new companies growing here, and we'll do whatever we can to support you, and appreciate you stopping by the studio.
We appreciate you having us.
Joe, happy Tuesday.